Now I gotta do this. And then, oh, I started a new thing. What the fuck did I start yesterday? I think I started. I don't know.
How long you want to roll for?
Oh, whatever. We'll know when it's time to quit. Oh, here's how I did it.
I've got a fortune in dreams. That's how I measure my treasure of things. I'm never blue as long as I can pretend, and I wouldn't take a million for the dreams that I spend. With only daydreams to keep me tonight, I get along and I'm doing alright. I haven't got a bank full, but I'm thankful to say I've got a fortune in dreams put away. I've got a fortune in dreams. Looking at a fortune in dreams. That's how I measure my treasure of things. And I never worry how things are gonna go. The sun was a come, a shine, and even if it looked like a snow, with only daydreams to keep me tonight, I get along and I'm doing alright. I've learned to love the things in life that money cannot buy. That's why I've got the sun and not the clouds up in my sky. You're never gonna see me with my head hanging down, 'cause I can take the bad times when the good times ain't around. Now I haven't got a thing more, but I'm thankful to say I've got a fortune in dreams put away. I've got a fortune in dreams.
Okay, folks, that's my new song. This is my friend Joe. He was on before, and we're going to talk a little bit about Joe and whatever comes up. This is naturally this is live. We're going to talk about anything Joe wants to talk about. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce you to what Joe and his horse did a few years back. But first, I want to let you know that that song I put up, "Fortune and Dreams," that probably describes me very well in the last 10 years. I got a fortune in dreams. That's where it is in my fucking dreams. Anyway, and then and just so you know, in case you didn't see last night, what I'm going to do from now on, I have 1,000 pictures, and I'll give you an example. Like here's an example. I'll show this picture. Now this picture, naturally, there's a story behind this picture. That man is James Gandolfini from The Sopranos' father. He called me up. He asked him to do me a favor. That his father was dying, losing a lot of weight, didn't eat in 2 weeks, and he says, but he loves horses. So he says, all right, if I bring him to the barn area. So I brought him to the barn area, and he wouldn't talk. He had until I brought a horse out and I put him right in his lap. And then we go to these pictures here where we put him in the sulky, and then I'm not going to tell you, that was the horse that he had out there. And it was a special thanks to James Gandolfini. Without his help, this win wouldn't be possible. This was a 4 or 5 year old maiden, never won a race. And when this happened, I'm going to tell you that whole story. I'm not going to tell it now, but that's what we're going to do from now on. I got thousands of pictures. And if somebody comes on that fucking aggravates me, I just put this thing up, and I won't even respond to them because I get aggravated and I start talking stupid over the phone. So I just put this up. No matter how much you try to be fucking nice, there's always someone always finds my fuck off button. I just put that out and I go to the next guy. So anyway, that's it. Now we get to my pal, my friend. A friend with his whole family. Unfortunately, his father died recently and his mother died recently. Good people. And this is Joe. He's from Brooklyn. Joe Aberano. And he was on my podcast before. We went through the whole thing with the horse, how we bought the horse and everything else. Tonight, we're going to talk about anything he wants to talk about. But first, I just want to give a little credit to this horse that he bought. It was his first horse. He went to the yearling sale. He picked this horse out all by himself. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you his horse right here. And then
they're all lined up in behind the gate, and here they come. And they're off, and Took Hanover from the outside gets the first call. Long shot, My Boy David is put into play early. Up close from the rail is Perfect Union, who looks to settle into third. Artistic Fella floats away between horses. Western Ace is 3 wide early. Shark Gesture is 6th on the inside. Real Mean Art is caught a bit wide on the turn. Total Truth is lining up to follow Western Ace for Team Teague. Further back racing in 9th is Armbro Deuce, and Dave Panlone trails the field, and Dave Miller makes a move with Perfect Union on the outside. Up and after Took Hanover. They hit the quarter in 26 and 3, and Artistic Fella follows the move of Perfect Union. So Perfect Union is about to clear the lead. Pressure coming though as the favorite Artistic Fella is right alongside in second. Took Hanover, who left the gate well, is now third. Racing in 4th is My Boy David. Shark Gesture is 5th, and Artistic Fella takes the lead before the half-mile marker. Western Ace is 6th on the outside. Total Truth is following him. Armbro Deuce is 8th on the outside. Then it's Real Mean Art, the half in 53 and 1, and 10th and trailing is Dave Panlone, and Artistic Fella and the Catman a length in front as they wheel onto the far turn. Perfect Union is second, and Campbell takes a shot with Took Hanover, who's coming on the outside, and Took Hanover is up and after Artistic Fella, just half a length away as they near the 3/4 marker. Artistic Fella still in front on the inside. Took Hanover right at his throat on the outside second. Perfect Union has dropped back a bit in third. Total Truth trying to kick on 3 deep on the outside. 3/4 in 1:21 and 3. It's Artistic Fella at the top of the stretch who leads it. Took Hanover is still 2 lengths away on the outside. Armbro Deuce in the middle of the racetrack is coming. Perfect Union there. My Boy David angles out. Artistic Fella still there. Armbro Deuce charging hard with My Boy David. Artistic Fella. Armbro Deuce. My Boy David. Artistic Fella wins the Meadowlands Pace in a masterpiece. 1:48 and 4. Took Hanover is still 2 lengths away on the outside. Armbro Deuce in the middle of the racetrack is coming. Perfect Union there. My Boy David angles out. Artistic Fella still there. Armbro Deuce charging hard with My Boy David. Artistic Fella. Armbro Deuce. My Boy David. Artistic Fella wins the Meadowlands Pace in a masterpiece. 1:48.4. Owned by Joe Albarano, who's from New Egypt, New Jersey, Steve Elliott, and Cat Manzi. So the favorite does it. Artistic Fella takes the 30th edition of the Meadowlands Pace. Bob Hollywood Hayden will have winner's circle reaction a bit later on as the celebration begins. Joe Albarano and his family and friends, about 500 strong, hoping to get into the winner's circle ceremonies here as Artistic Fella takes the 2006 Pace. Opted off and got back on, Artistic Fella, and he has just won his first Meadowlands Pace, snapping an 0 for 9 streak for the Catman. A Pacific Fella out of an Arts Place mare, Joe Albarano, one of the little guys in the sport, enjoying probably his biggest thrill, not only in the sport but in his life and his career as well. As Artistic Fella gets the job done as the favorite, 30th edition of the Pace, 1:48 4/5. Owner Joe Albarano and caretaker Rachel Vincent standing by Artistic Fella as the winner's circle ceremonies continue.
Okay, that's it. So that was Joe's first horse. And let me say this too before we start getting off on all different subjects. Joe is a very, very interesting guy. I know him for a lot of years. I had horses with his sister and her husband, and we became like one big family. And Joe is an entrepreneur. He's into everything, and so far everything he's done, including going to a yearling sale for the first time in coming up with this horse. But he's involved in 2 or 3 other things that are very, very big, very, very. It looks like a major home run. So if there's anybody out there that is entrepreneurial, looking for someplace to put their money, give me a call. I'll hook you up with Joe, and you might be very happy. Okay. Now, other than that, before we start, let me just say hello to a couple of people that are on here, and then we'll go from there. So, and like I said, if you have any questions for Joe, because in another couple of minutes, I'm going to let Joe talk, and he can talk about anything he wants. He's involved with the TV series Gravesend. He's involved with all of them people in Brooklyn. He was born and raised in Brooklyn. He moved to Jersey when he got that horse, and but he's friendly with all the actors in that acted Gravesend. He's in a couple of series himself that will be coming up this year in this series. And he's a great guy, very, 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 very exciting guy. He gets into a lot of things. He makes them work, and it proves to be good for him. So let me just say hello to some people, and then we'll get to Joe. Okay, Vince says, "Hi, Larry. Hope you are feeling better and stronger each day." I am, Vincent. Thank you. Let me fix this so. See this lens here? You don't see the reflection.
Right.
Okay. Angelique, pretty Angelique. How you doing? Angelique, she's doing good. Hello, Larry and Joe. Hiya, cutie. Hello, Angelique. Oh, the great Sam McGee on the call, one of the greatest. He was the announcer for that.
Yeah. Good guy.
Hello, Larry. Hello, Larry Cox. Oh, she's saying hello to one of the guys. Wow, 53-1 to the half, smoking. And that was in 20, and that was a long time ago, too, 10 years ago, I guess. It's a nice horse. I only had one thing to say about that horse. And I'm almost positive I told Joe, but I don't see Joe all the time. I might have told his sister instead, but maybe I told Joe. The only problem I had with this horse, because he had a top trainer. He had a top trainer training the horse. What was his name?
Elliott, Steve Elliott.
Steve Elliott. He was one of the hidden gems in training standardbreds. Really, really good guy, but very, very quiet. And he had a brother, equally smart and successful. And they were the trainers of the horse, and there was no hanky-panky with them guys. They raced on hay and oats, and Joe just happened to pick a good horse.
Actually, Jen picked him up.
Your wife?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, he just admitted that Jen picked him out. I guess she liked, oh, you can look. You take a girl to the racetrack, you give her a program, and says, "Would you bet me 1-5, 1-5?" They got no chance. 50-1 and 20-1. What comes in? 1-5. Okay, Strophy. That's my cousin Cookie. That's the one that we sent. She went to the Bahamas, and Dr. Burton cured her. That was, God, 40 years ago, whatever it was. She's alive and well, and she was the one that saved my life. I know you guys don't want to hear no more morbid stories, but when I was coming home from being diagnosed, they told me that I had a very serious, aggressive form of cancer. And I didn't want to live like the quality of life to me is so too important rather than living a couple of more weeks or days. Anyway, she called me up and she talked me out of doing something stupid that I was going to do. So Cookie, I call her Cookie since she was born. I know her since she's a kid. She's a really good girl. Anyway, okay, Joe, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about your dealings with the people at Gravesend? Tell them how you're involved. You want to talk about your horse? You want to talk about your business?
I'm trying to get some horse scenes in that, but I don't really want to give away much. It's a pretty good show, you know, and there's a lot of good actors on there. And
I don't know how the hell he gets Chaz Palminteri. He got that big basketball player. What's his name?
Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah. He gets everybody. He's friends with everyone. He's a pretty likable guy. You know, he's got a lot of nerve, but that's what you need. And he's persistent. He's going to make the show work. And people want to see all of these guys, even though some of them are old timers now. They still resemble that kind of movie scenery. Mobster stuff, wise guy stuff.
I don't know. And you know the amazing thing about this guy? He raises the money, millions. He stars in it. He writes it. He directs it. He does everything.
The kid, you got to give him a lot of credit because he's doing 5 different things at once. And, I didn't really meet Shaq that much. I saw him. I said hello to him. The guy's a hell of a nice guy. One of the scenes, I believe he bought a girl a wedding dress, which was wild. And a lot of people say how many nice things this guy does. He looks like an oak tree. You stand and look at this guy. He looks like a building, like an apartment building. That's how big he is. But what a hell of a nice guy. I had a lot of fun going there a couple of times, and I'll probably start up again. I got to keep busy. I like doing fun stuff, and it's giving me a little bit of a workout because I want to put this movie with Artistic Fella together. I now have all my horses. My bull, my bull was my father's favorite pet. He's 18.
What'd you say, your bull?
Yeah, I have a bull.
Oh, God.
And you know, we're gonna pull him out of where he is and bring him up to the farm I got up north. An autistic stand, one of my first horses that the guy that ran Four Star Shark, Jeff Cohen, gave it to me. I still was living in Staten Island. She's about 30, so I have about 70 of my race horses were all placed in a rescue where my sister knows the girl in Colorado, and they all were taught how to ride on the saddle. And each horse costed me about 5K, you know, and I put as much as I could in. I did the average. I've been feeding 37 horses a year on the average for the last 28 years.
Really?
37, including that, and I only have 3. It still is 37. You know, I'll do the average again next year. It might come down to 35. But, you know, you can't keep all of them. You know, 90 horses eat a lot, you know, a tractor trailer load of hay every week and a half. So my sister helped me, and we made sure that all of them, you know, lived out their life.
That's really nice.
You know, had I not done that, I could have been like some of the other guys and been abusive, and just cut ties, and where the chips fall, they may. I can't sleep at night doing stuff like that. You know, right now I adopted from the farm I'm at a little raccoon that someone must have shot the mother, and the thing can't live on its own. So the guy goes, "You want to raise him up?" I raise him up. A little bastard bites me every day, scratches me. He goes after my fingers. He thinks there's some kind of food. He stands up and he's fighting with my dog. My dog's ear is bigger than him, and it's hysterical. And I still, you know, respect, you know, any animal. And you know, look, you know, autistic looks great. He looks like he could probably be in the number at the Meadowlands and the Open on Saturday. But, you know, we got to find some new adventurous, successful events to talk about after this guy. I want to get back into the horses and try to put a movie together with him. And,
You're with the right guy. By the way, this is Willie. This guy here with the blue jumpsuit on, that's William DeMeo. That's the guy who created Gravesend, and he created, this is a good friend of his. I think they grew up together. That's Peter Gordio. He's an actor. In fact, he was on my podcast. In fact, did you ever see the little 3-minute video I did about the movie, my movie? No?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I'm going to show it to you now. All right, what I'm going to show, we're just going to get a little bit off topic right now, because I want to show you what a favor this guy did for me. This guy just got out of the hospital. I didn't know it, but he calls me all the time. He's a real nice guy. And he said to me, "How you doing? How this, how that?" And I says, "Well, I'm in the hospital now, but I'm coming home, and I'm going to do like a 4-minute video about one scene in the movie that I plan on making. That's the book from the book." I says, because nobody today is going to read a book. Nobody's going to read a screenplay. Nobody's going to read a 3, 4, 5-page synopsis. But everybody will probably look at a 2 or 3-minute video. So I try to pick a scene that would kind of get everything where just by the words you would get what's going to happen and how exciting it might be. So he did me a big favor. When he showed up that day for the shoot, he couldn't even move. Naturally, I sent the car for him, and he come back. He needed help. I didn't know this. He bought a change of clothes. He couldn't walk. He was in bad shape. But so I gave him a part. He was going to play Little Sammy's part, the part that I wound up playing. And the reason I wound up playing it was because he was in a lot of pain and everything. He says, if there's a part with very little voice, so I gave him that part. And then the guy that's supposed to play Little Sammy never showed up. So I was sick as a dog. I was really sick. I was laying in the back, and they said, we're either going to have to cancel or you're going to have to get somebody to play Little Sammy. And he only had, I says, all right, I'll do it. So I said, give me a hat, give me. So anyway, I'm gonna play it now. So because Joe never saw it, but this is Peter. This is me. This is the founder of everything, and this is
Chuck Zito.
Chuck Zito. So that's when I went down. They have a couple of parties all the time in the pizza joints and restaurants in Brooklyn, and I was invited to a couple of them. But let me show Joe. Let me show Joe. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, this is it here. This is just a 3-minute video, and I'm sending this to Mark Wahlberg. I'm sending it to 2 or 3 other major studios. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to raise a couple of $1 million myself, because you all know I'm sick, and I'd like to see it made. And my friend that's right here, he lives a couple of blocks away. He already made 5 or 6 movies, really good movies, and he makes them cheap. And he told me he already has distribution. Yeah, he has everything. He has everything going. He's been doing this for 15, 20 years. He makes the movies himself. He started off 25 years ago with, I think, $30,000 of his own money. He made a movie. Now he's up to $1 million movies. But he said to me, he says, if you could raise a couple of million, I'll make a movie that looks like a $10 million movie for you. So maybe that's what I'll do, because if I go to Mark Wahlberg or one of these major studios, it's going to be years, and I won't be around. So I just might do it. But here's the scene that I picked. And then in the comments, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of this scene. If you would be interested after watching this and either seeing the movie, or you think I'm on the right track. Here it is.
A respected and successful horse trainer with a serious addiction to sports betting is drowning in debt to a local mob boss. He carries the weight of the biggest mistake he ever made as he heads toward a meeting with Robert Bisaccia, a meeting that will decide his fate. He knows that every word he speaks might be the difference between him walking out the door or being buried beneath it. Robert Bisaccia, better known as Cabert, is the captain in New York's Gambino crime family. He's a psychopath who made his bones as a ruthless killer who controls family operations in New Jersey. Arriving at a planned location is Cabert's underboss, Sammy Casero, with horse trainer Larry Rolla.
Remember what I said. Don't say nothing stupid in there, because he'll leave you right where you stand. If I could help you, I will.
Hey guys, here, have a seat. Sit down. Yeah, it looks like Florida was pretty good to you. But now that you're here, I want to ask you a question. What the fuck were you thinking? You know who I am, you know what I do. For more than a year, there was never a problem between us. No matter what the situation was, we could always work it out. Okay? But instead, you pulled a scumbag move. You left town, you took a shot at me. Not once, not twice, but the 3 times. Now you owe me $360,000 that you don't have. Okay? I don't know why Sammy let you go that far, but that's on him. You went there, now that's on you. There's not one motherfucker that took a shot at me that's alive today. Now you tell me why I shouldn't just take your head, blow your head off, put you in a bucket of cement, and throw you in the fucking ocean. Tell me.
Because I could pay. I ran out of cash. I took a shot, but I could pay.
This guy, Sammy, you know he could pay.
Bobby, I heard him. Let me just say this. In 3-4 months, we got over $1 million of his money. Showed up every week. Never short, never late. Kid's in big action. Controls a lot of races at these racetracks around here. So if you ask me if I think he can pay, I think he can pay.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. You get a pass for showing up today, okay? But this $360,000, I'm going to turn it into a Shylock loan, okay? That's 2 points a week. 2 points a week, $7,200 a week until the $360 is paid. Now, do you understand?
I understand.
All right. I'm going to say it again. It's $7,200 a week every week until the $360 is paid. You miss 1 week, this will be the last face you're going to see.
There'll be no problem.
All right, good. Now, get the fuck out of here. Next time, clean yourself up before you come and see me.
This sets in motion the true story of one man's ride through the tainted world of horse racing, a world riddled with greed, corruption, celebrities, drugs, sex, and the mob. A world of rigged outcomes, all born from one single sit-down and one desperate deal. This is Larry Rolla, and this is my story.
Okay, so what do you think of that? You think that's good enough?
It looks good to me.
All right, that's good. So I got Joe's approval. All right, now I'm going to turn on the comments and look to see if there's any questions for Joe. Here's one. Wait, let me go down the list. He won the Meadowlands Pace in 2009. It was 2006, wasn't it?
Yes.
2006. Pick the pros and ponies. It was 2006. He won the Meadowlands Pace with our good friend Catello Mansi. Joe, why on earth would you want to get involved in harness racing again? It's on the verge of collapse in New Jersey area. To each his own, I guess. Tony asked you that question.
Well, I'll be honest with you. You know, I'm a guy that can't sit still for very long. And I like to keep a full day, get up when I get up, take care of my business, take care of my animals, take care of my family, and then I'm on the run till I get exhausted. Then I come home, I eat, I go to bed. I love racing, and some of the greatest days of my life were spent at a racetrack. And to see an animal, you know, with his ears pinned, coming down the stretch in $1 million race, knowing his job because it was embedded in him by Steve Elliott. And, you know, Steve and I had a lot of arguments, believe me. So I told him, just pretend you're in a rowboat with me in the middle of the ocean. You're not going nowhere, and I'm not going nowhere. You could yell at me, I'll yell at you, but you're going to get this job done. And we did. So I just love the sport. I love the animals. Without the animal, there's no sport. And people should know that. You know, a while ago, I came under fire. I sold my farm, and I thought I was going to be able to get another farm. And I ended up looking like shit because I trusted a couple of people. And, you know, a few of my animals ended up in trouble. And we were taken in and sorted it all out again. But believe 10% of what you've seen or heard, the other 90% is all a whole bunch of crap. But, you know, like I said, I had a little issue on Wall Street. I got $7 million of my money taken away, left me without a business, and a huge fine and a ban from working on Wall Street. That's all I knew. It's like a fish. He knows how to swim. You take him out of water, he's done. I wasn't done. I'm never done. Till I'm dead, I'm done. I told my kid, if you want to take a shot at me, go ahead. If you kill me, my nerves will kill you before I just am totally dead. And he laughs. Why the violence? He says, hey, I have a drive that's unlimited. And, you know, I'm a competitor. My father did that to me at a cost. You know, I mean,
Let me tell you a little bit about Joe. Long before, how do I put this? Because I don't want to make him sound like a bad guy, because he's not. But growing up in Brooklyn, and you're 15, 16, 17, 18, you can't, because no matter where you go, whether it be Bensonhurst or Gravesend or wherever it might be, you're surrounded by mob guys, and that you can't help it. You bring it up. So I will just mention one thing: how Joe fit into that whole group, and how the hell do I put this? How determined he is, especially when he thinks he's right. He will go to no ends. If he's your friend, and if you're in a problem, you have a problem, you need somebody in a foxhole with you, he's the guy. I'll just say one thing, and I don't expect him to say anything about it. I hope you don't get mad that I mentioned it. But one of the many, 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 many things that young guys growing up in that kind of environment get themselves in the same position. And like I said, I'm just going to go back. I'm just going to go back 1 minute to show you something that when you got in trouble back then, in the years we're talking about, and you get arrested, it's not like it was. It's not like today, where you have the right to remain silent. You have none of that stuff. And when I told on the podcast what happened to me, I'm looking for a picture now that I know I didn't lose. I'm looking for a picture that show you what, and here it is right here. When I got arrested, and Joe, and this goes for Joe too, because when you're in them areas, you belong from the time you're 10 years old, you belong to a gang, or you're just on your own, but to be on your own, you got to be a tough guy. Joe is a tough guy. Joe is a real tough guy. In fact, I'm not positive because I wasn't there, but I heard from a very reliable source that Joe was asked to leave Brooklyn because he was just a dangerous guy. And what I was going to tell you was that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but we're going to find out right now. There was a time when they had a problem and 5 cops come over and Joe beat the shit out of all 5 cops, left them laying on the ground, and he went home. Is that true?
I'll modify it. I had a route business, and I kept getting flack from the cops. And look, I respect the cops. Did I like the cops? No. No one likes the cops. They abuse their power, their authority.
Not all of them, but
well, most of them. But at the end of the day, I was in Coney Island making a delivery to my last 2 stops, and I get pulled over. They tell me, get a bit against the car. You like to deal drugs? I never dealt drugs in my life. I may have tried a few, but I don't deal. And that's not me. You got the wrong guy. So one cop got a little stupid with me, started pushing me around, taking all my money out of my pocket, putting it in a plastic bag, and like really, trying to get me to throw a swing at one of them. And back then I was probably at the strongest time of my life. I was benching over 500 pounds, and I was pretty strong. I knew how to fight. I wasn't the toughest guy in the world, but even if I lost, I'd get my shots in. This one cop put the belly bat across my, over my head, around my neck. And, just instinct, I dropped down and I flung him over my back and I hit one of the cops. The next thing you know, I was packaged up. I out of like 8 cops, 3 cops ended up getting hurt, and I was handcuffed to a hospital bed. But I was in the right. My father would let me rot in jail and never come and bail me out.
don't say that. Your father was a good guy.
Discipline. If I did something that wasn't right, he would let me rot. But he showed up at the hospital and he says, I'm going to come and bail you out because I know you were right. And it's just a shame that happened to me. But, there comes a time where, like, if I'm not wrong, I'm going to fight for what I believe. And, it's hard to win, but it's a losing battle when you're fighting against the law. You just bring more heat onto yourself and more headaches, more problems. And I was counted, I had 19 golf ball sized knots on my head. They must have hit me with the billy bat about 19 times.
Jesus Christ.
And 2 of the store owners that I had as customers witnessed it. And, they stood up for me. And I put a police brutality suit in. And they let me out after a year. But, would I do that again? Probably. If I'm provoked, I would probably do it again. And, it's just unjust. And, like Donald Trump, he's not my favorite guy in the world, but I think he's a great leader. And the guy's got a pair of balls. And we've been in need of a president like that for a long time, because when you sit around and you allow people to shit on your friends, your family, tax you, do this, do that, and no one stands by, and it's bullshit. And the countries that we deal with, they're looking at all of this, and Obama did nothing, but Biden pissed his pants every time he was at the podium. I mean, these are not good leaders. You know, when you were sent to the principal's office as a kid, you were shitting in your pants because you knew you were getting a beating. And you knew when you got home, your parents were giving you a beating. And that's what all of us guys in our 60s to 70s understand. But if somebody's wrong, I'm not going to tolerate shit from people that's wrong. I turn my head and walk away a lot of times, still to this day. But, you know, it is what it is. But I've done some stupid shit in my day, crazy stuff. We all have. From
I'm going to put
frustration.
up a picture because on one of the podcasts, I started my life. I started the story when the only time in my life I brought somebody with me. Whatever I did in my life, I always did by myself. No gangs, no mob guys, no. I did everything by myself. I knew them all. I did business with them all, but I was always my own guy. And I figured that early on when I was 14, 15, when all the little older kids, you know, they would go rob a car. And I would be with them. And I was only like 14, 13. And then I got in the car and they would go where they wanted to go. And I'm the kind of guy that I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I says, why are you going here? Well, I had to just sit there. And I says, from now on, I'm not going with them. I'm doing everything right. Because if I'm going to rob a car, I'm going to go where I want to go. I ain't going to just. So that's how I was. Well, anyway, I raced cars for a living, and it would blow up. And then I would rob gas stations just to get the money to put a new clutch in or this or that. And one day a horse van pulled in. You guys know the rest of the story. I wound up going with the horses. But when they caught me for that one time when I robbed this one gas station, it was a grand opening. And he had it was 1956. He had all brand new jacks, transmission jacks, because they were shifting from standard shift transmissions to automatic. They had these big red jacks. And I looked at the gas station that was going to have the grand opening. And they had all brand new tires, 2 or 3 brand new transmission jacks. They had a big gold cash register. So I robbed the box truck the night before. And I realized I couldn't lift these jacks by myself. They were big and clumsy. They was only maybe 100 pounds, but I couldn't get them up. So I called a friend of mine, Joe Stump. I could say his name now because I told this whole story on the thing, and it's been 60, 70 years ago. And he helped me. And anyway, we sold the stuff to a friend of Joe's. Somehow the owner of the property found out about it 6 months later. They come and got me. He knew me. They come and got me. They asked me to sign a confession. I wouldn't sign a confession. Detective Sands I was up in the 114 precinct in Astoria. Detective Sands pushes a piece of paper in front of me and he says, sign this. I says, what's this? He says, just sign it. It's a confession and you got to give us the name of the guy you were with. I says, I ain't signing nothing. With that, he come around the table, give me a smack in the face, and with that, I hit him in the belly. Once I hit him in the belly, the 2 detectives that were behind me handcuffed me to the back of the thing. Sands went to get a big law book, smashed me on the head. Maybe after 2 or 3 minutes, my eyes start bleeding, my ears, my nose, everything was bleeding. But I was still conscious. They stopped, they uncuffed me, they said, sign it. I wouldn't sign it again. He hit me again, I hit him again. I fell to the floor, and they started jumping on me and kicking me. I crawled into a corner. They jumped on my ankles. They did everything. Then the 114 precinct, the detective's room was up on the 3rd floor. And they had these long poles they used to push the window over. And when they couldn't get too much, they got the window pole and they started jabbing me. The bottom line was they put me in a Tombs downstairs. And from Thursday night till Monday, when I got out on bail, I wound up with 2 broken eye sockets, broken nose, broken jaw, fractured skull, I think 7 ribs broke, and a broken ankle. And that's what they used to do back then. And this is, let me get rid of this thing here. And this is this is just a picture, the only one I could find of what the cops did back then in the 40s and 50s and 60s when they questioned you and you didn't cooperate. That ain't the same. So that's it. Okay, now, how the hell do I get rid of this? I got to go back here. I'm learning, guys. No. Okay, so just keep your cards and letters coming in. So Joe, when this in fact one day, in fact I gotta call, I might call Peter up later after we get done with this, because what I'm doing, I'm looking for an agent, because I called up everybody, and you can't, if you're looking to do something, you're not an agent or a manager. You can't, no studio and nobody will accept unsolicited material. So I'll figure it out. Anyway, so that's it. That's
Tomorrow night, if you want to take a ride, I'll go meet with Willie.
no, I don't.
Staten Island.
I don't.
He's got that other guy, Peter's probably going to be there too.
I don't
really want to go either, but sometimes I go. I got other things to do. I mean,
Willie.
This is a hobby for me.
Willie, I already know Willie. I already know him. I already met him. I already had dinner with him. The whole bit. But there's no. I wouldn't go there because his thing is to raise money.
Right.
My thing now is to raise money. So he ain't giving me none, and I ain't giving him none. So there's no reason to say hello. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way.
We could discuss that at another time during the day.
Yeah.
I could help you with that.
I don't
We
know.
got a lot of good stuff going on, but did I finish answering that?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
But, yeah, I wanted to tell them that I like racing. Some of the best days of my life were at the track, and just by being able to teach an animal, how to race and how to behave and how to be rateable, and to me, I like working with animals. I mean, people think I'm nuts. I've had just about every pet that lives in the woods outside of a bear.
Let me say this. Hold it now. Let me say this. I've been over Joe's house many, many times. I've been at his farm many, many times. I'll tell you how nuts he is. He offered me a job. He says, name your salary. I want you to train all my horses. So I says, Joe, just bring them out one at a time. I'm really not interested in the job. Bring the horses out one at a time, and I'll look them and I'll tell you what I think you should do for lameness or whatever. And then I says, but first you got to get rid of these flies. You got a zillion flies here. He says, no, you can't kill flies. He don't kill nothing. He kills nothing.
Yeah, flies I hate.
But you wouldn't let me kill him. You say, no. If he sees a roadkill, he'll stop to see if it's still alive. If it's still alive, he'll bring it home, take it to a vet. I went and ate at his house one time. And I went to the bathroom. There was, I think, a raccoon in a cage or something. He had all kinds of animals from all kinds. He's really an animal lover.
Yeah, but you fix them and then you got to let them go.
Yeah, but you don't let them go.
No, but I get attached. My father, I showed one how to catch a ball. She would catch a ball like 10 times out of 10. He goes, bring that raccoon on the Letterman show. I said, yeah, and then they'll take it away from me in a heartbeat. But I don't have too many animals anymore. I just have a couple of animals.
You just said you had a bull.
Yeah, I got a bull.
What the fuck are you doing with a bull?
I had him as a little guy. And then, what am I going to do? Get rid of him? Sometimes my kid aggravates me. What should I do? Take him for a ride and throw him in the water? I'd like that, but I leave him alone. The animals,
Okay, pick the pros and ponies. He says, great clip, Larry. This is a blockbuster movie. I only wish that you had the money to make this movie, because I would get in touch with you immediately. Because I don't, if I give it to Mark Wahlberg or anybody, it's going to be years before it's done. I'm 86. I'm not healthy, and I just would like to see it get made. So if pick the pros and ponies, if you know anybody who's extremely wealthy and wants a part in a movie, just give me a call. Okay, what's this? Tony Bologna, is Manny Russian? All right, let me tell you about Manny, because I did something I don't usually do. Manny is the same kind of guy as this guy right here, Joe. Same tough guy. But Manny had to understand that if you're going to come in my circle of friends is very small because they're all good stand-up people that I know that if I call this guy here, Joe, up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, I got a problem, I'm 200 miles away, he says, well, try to hide until I get there, and he'll show up. And he'll show up with whoever or whatever he needs to solve the problem. That's how Manny is. But Manny did something that he can't do if he wants to hang out in this little closed circle I have. And he said something and he didn't do it. Then he said it again and he didn't do it. Then he said it again and he didn't do it. And my good friend Joe Reno, who's on this podcast every week, he took offense to that because he's not that kind of guy. Joe's the kind of guy just like Russell Buffalino. If you have an appointment at 8 o'clock, you better get there at 10 to 8. If you don't, you're late. But Manny never showed up. Now he had good reasons and everything else. He was in Arizona someplace with his family, and so I said what I said. I said, Joe, you can't do that. And he tried to make himself right. In that little rant that I went on last night, I hated to do it because normally if I was feeling better, I would drive right out to his house because that's how you do things. That's how men do things. You sit face to face, eyeball to eyeball, and you talk it out. And 99 and 9 tenths of the time, it ends good. But he didn't do that. He just trying to make himself right. But anyway, we talked this morning on the phone, and everything is fine. Everything is good now between me and Manny. He understood when you're dealing, if you're middle-aged, if you're in your 30s or 40s, and you're dealing with a guy in his 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, you better not say you're going to be someplace and not show up and not call, because you're going to have a major problem, unless the guy is, whatever, you don't care. And that's what Manny did. But we straightened it all out. He understands now, and there's no problem from now on. In fact, what I should do is have another party and invite everybody. Because Joe, after the podcast last night, Joe said to me, maybe we should hook up with him at dinner and shake hands and end it. But it's all good now. It's good.
Let me answer this good.
Okay. Tony Bologna says again, this isn't 1990 anymore. You would be tased and on the ground in seconds, no matter how much you can bench. Now, Tony, let me just say something. I'm not going to say nothing. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? If that's how it was back in the 90s, it would prevent you from doing that. But why in the hell would a cop put a billy bat over my head? Other than because I was just a big guy, they just pull me over and throw me out of my car, accuse me of being a fucking drug dealer. I told them, your mother's a fucking drug dealer. That's the kind of guy I was. Because my father was 6'2", 240, and he used to beat the shit out of me every day. And I didn't give a fuck who looked at me, how big they were, if there was 2 or 3 of them. When I was 15, I was a real fucked up kid. And you know what? Did I want to be a fucked up kid? No, that's what I was from getting beat up. But, to me personally, cops, I always said that an ex-military guy would be the best law enforcement in the street because they don't shoot unless fired on. A couple of kids I know were in Afghanistan, and they said mortars were blowing up in their fucking camp. Literally, you could die from it. And they weren't allowed to shoot someone standing on the mountain walking around because he didn't fire at them, but he's an enemy. That's horseshit. But if a cop doesn't understand, like I bounced in clubs, and I bounced in clubs where there was high-end, wealthy guys. There was tons of street guys. And you know what? Go and put your hands on a street guy and ruffle him up, rip his fucking suit and embarrass him in front of your friends. Ain't gonna hobby. There's no fucking spot for you to hide if you ever did that. Okay? Diplomacy. I never had a gun, and I never used a gun on any fucking body. I used my hands. Me and one of my friends once, we went in a club to help one of our friends. We walked into a fucking place that had about 30, 40 guys staged. We knew it, but we had balls bigger than brains. So we went in, and the guys came up to us and they said, you guys got balls. You're very impressive. It wasn't impressive. It was stupid. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do to show that you're right. Because these guys accuse, they look at you, you're guilty before they even give you a shot. And that's how it goes. The cop was in fear and he put a billy bat over my head. I didn't make one motion towards him. To me, that's wrong. But if I knew I was going to get tased, I would have never picked my hands up. But once somebody hits you, it's like a switch. If you have balls and somebody hits you, you're going to go. If there's 10 on 1, you're going to do the best you can. But I was so sick and tired of getting ticketed every day for going through the worst armpit neighborhoods in Brooklyn to sell cake and bagels and rolls to make a legitimate living. And then my reward is to be called a drug dealer. No, I'm not a drug dealer. And whoever is, God bless you. I hope you never get caught. But my point is, that's wrong. Bullshit like that is wrong. And you know what? They have these tasers. People get shot. The cops unload. How do you unload your 9mm into a guy that don't even have a weapon because you were afraid for your life? That's a crock of shit. These guys ain't cops. They're just guys that want to have the power stick. That's all. And, I can understand that. No matter what you bench, no matter what, you're not going to, a taser goes on you. You're going on the ground. You're done. And I get that. I know you didn't say it to be a smart aleck towards me because I'm pretty much educated. I could tell. But just to explain the situation, I was packaged up like an animal. My hands tied behind my back to my feet. And I had a size 12 black polished shoe on the back of my head. And I was picking tar out of my forehead for about 2 days. That's not the way it's done. But, you treat me good, I treat you good. That's the way it goes, and that's the way it should be. So that's pretty much it. I just get a little hot behind the collar because that was a day in my life where I'm not happy with. But, just like winning the Meadowlands Pace, that was another day that I wouldn't take out of my life. I like the memories of it because at least I felt like I stood up for myself.
Let's see, Tony, well, I wasn't saying Joe was wrong, just saying things are much different now. You're 1,000% right, Tony. Things are much
I
different.
agree with that.
Yeah, that's why I showed you them pictures. That's how they did. Hey, look, when I first went up there, there were two things happened with Detective Sands. They put me in a chair, and Detective Sands had a piece of wax paper with bologna on it, eating bologna off the wax paper. And without missing a beat, because he was like 300 pounds, this fat fuck, he was eating the bologna, opens the drawer. The first thing he takes out is a scissor. Second thing he takes out is a pair of pliers. Third thing he takes out is there was one other thing he took out. But anyway, they were prepared to rip my nails out. That's what they do. They have the pliers there. I used to bite my nails. They couldn't grab my nails. Otherwise, if I had long nails, they would have pulled my nails out. That's what they did back then. That's what them pictures. Them are not bullshit pictures. Them are pictures from police files. That you don't answer their question, bow. You're getting hit, and that's what it's like. And it took a long way. And even still today, you get that odd cop that'll do what they did to Joe, and then you got no chance. If there's 2 cops against you or 3, they could say you resisted arrest, and then that's the end of that.
But if you have 2 customers that were watching the whole scene and said that once they tied me up, they unmercifully beat me down. I mean, you don't do shit like that. Listen, Larry, you bounce in a club. I'm 5'10". Yeah, I was 270, 5'10", wide but short. The guy at the door was 6'5", 300, but he don't have a pair of balls. In fact, one New Year's Eve, there was a melee at one of the clubs, and this guy was gone. He didn't come back to lift it. It was all settled. Chairs were thrown around. The place was trashed. But the point is that you don't have a weapon. No, a cop's got a gun. He's got a bat. He's got a radio. He's got a car. They use anything. They use their car to apprehend, people that are fleeing the scene in a vehicle. They push the back of the car. They throw them off the road. Anything goes, I guess.
Well, as bad as Joe was back then, that's how good he is now, as far as finding, investigating different things to get involved with. Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you? Whatever happened to the guy that you brought me to that wanted to do the movie, and then he made a deal with Warner Brothers and he's gone? What was his name?
Oh, Johnny, he's still around.
But he's in California, ain't he?
No, he's running, a division of Warner Brothers, Sunset Pictures. He's going to do something for me still, but we got to raise the money.
Does he live down there?
Yeah, he lives in Red Bank.
Oh, in Jersey?
Yeah.
So he's not in California?
No,
he said he had an office in
He
California.
flies out there and he goes and he uses his office that they give him, but he's here most of the time.
Oh. So you're going to put together, because
I'm going to do something. I spoke to a lot of people, but a lot of these guys, I don't know, maybe my personality's a little too strong. I spoke to the kid, Chris, Mike Imperioli. I told him about a couple of different things. I was talking with him for a while. And I said, yeah, if you want to produce and be in the show, great. We'll do it. That's the Autistic Fella movie. But, we're talking some serious money. It's going to cost some money to make it a real good show, a good movie, But I'm just waiting on it. I just, I'm thinking little by little, I'm going to have this guy Willie help me with a script, and then we'll take it to the next level. Even if it takes 2 years to raise the money, But I'd rather have people I know working with me, guys that have a good reputation. Because you get one shot. You can pay $5 million for the movie. The movie, is a bomb. And there's no return on your investment.
here's a guy that says it's too bad they weren't body cams back then. Yeah, that's right. That's one of the reasons they have body cams. Hey, here's Manny. Hello, Larry Rolla. Hello to your friend, too. That's Manny. That's the guy we were just
How's
talking
it
about.
going?
For real, he's really a nice guy. I was at his house. He's got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids, beautiful home. He has a really good construction business. And he also involved with a couple of Hasidic Jewish guys that are into properties and everything. He got a lot going for him. And he's very, very busy. And when you're very, very busy like that, you better keep a book, with a calendar book, and not make promises or not say things that you couldn't say. But I don't want to get into that, because me and him straightened it out this morning. And there's no problem. In fact, if I'm able to survive this thing that I'm going through, I'm going to have a party right around Christmas time, because I should know then my fate. And if it looks okay, and maybe even if it don't look good, like a farewell party, I'll just have a big party or have a big band and just invite everybody and have a lot of friends. And that's what I think I'm going to do.
You just asked the question. What's his name?
Was Autistic Fella a sire? Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, he stood in Canada, which was a mistake. And he also stood down under at the Stallion Station with David James. He had one great filly that at 2 had 7 track records.
Really?
And beat the boys.
I didn't know that.
Her name was Mindari Pretty. Great horse. She was lame every race. The trainer actually messed her all up, and she had to be euthanized. In her 2-year-old career, I had about 400 breedings that had autistic down there. He just signed a main sire stake winner, and the woman that I let him stand with didn't even show a big interest. After a year, she gave him back. Now one of his foals reeled off and won the whole Sire Stakes
Really?
up that way.
He's
Yeah.
still breeding?
Yeah, no, this is from like 3 years ago.
Oh,
But 2 years it takes before they race, and I guess this was his 3rd year. I don't know the horse's name, but everybody wants immediate results. It doesn't work that way.
okay, let's see. Tony Bologna, here is a horse racing question. Joe, how did the Meadowlands staff treat you when you were on a roll with your horse?
Well, the Meadowlands, everybody loved me because when my horse won, they used to make fun of me a little bit too, but we had a mutual understanding. They liked me because I had hordes of people behind me, and I used to take everyone that was there. People I didn't even know in the winner's circle, buy them a picture. I'd always be, all right, give a good interview, talk to them in the tarmac about things. And, they said that my horse was the people's horse. And, they liked me. They put me on the commercial on the Meadowlands. It's probably still on there. But they just loved the energy. And that's how I am. Like after I won the pace, I was over at Freehold in the observation room, and my horse was going in, I think 9 winners at 3,500. And he was a horse that used to go all out and give you 100% of everything he got at the half, and that he'd be on his hands and knees for the last half. So the guy's like, I hear him talking about me. He's like, look at this guy. He just won the $1 million race, and he's over here rooting for his horse in a $4,000 purse. So I'm not going to let anyone talk about me. One day I got in the guy's face in the grandstand for saying my horse sucks and he was going to go backwards. And I said, hey, buddy, if you make fun of my horse again, I'm going to crack you. Because I get upset like that. Mind your business. Keep to yourself. But one day I'm in the back, and I started to tell you that they were telling me this horse is going to go backwards today. I got up and I said, look, the day that I don't want to win a qualifier, okay, is the day that I don't need to be racing anymore. And I says, by the way, if I needed a groom or a race trainer in my barn and you were the last guy on the earth that they had to do it, I'd do it myself because I want a guy like you working. And the guy looked at me like I had 2 heads. I says, you're here ragging on the sport. I says, I'm not about the money. I'm about winning. I want to win. I want to do well. And that's how I live my life. Anything I do, I want to do well. Unfortunately, some of the things I do, you can't win every game. Sometimes you strike out. And even in racing, I suffered. And Cat Manzi and I are great friends from the fact that he won the Meadowlands Pace on my horse. And undoubtedly, he says every time, he's the best horse I ever drove. Because he drove his father, Pacific Felon, as well. And wherever that horse went, Cat went with him. And, Cat used to never pick my horses because I used to finish 8th. And I used to justify doing better at racing. Oh, my horse went in 157-3, and today he went 157-2. He still finished last. So he did a little better. But when I got the good horse, that's when everything really was unbelievable. And I trained about 10 myself. And I did very well. I had some real, bad broke horses that were dangerous that I wouldn't even let anyone go near. And a couple of times I had to run out on the track in the post parade with one of my horses to help a couple of the drivers out because they were getting, real mad. But, it is what it is. And,
all right.
that's about it.
Manny says, I told you this morning, Larry, you had to go. Yeah, because I got a call when he called me, but we did speak for a while. You had to go. Well, we spoke for a bit. That blizzard I got caught in, Larry, I don't get scared, but I was scared. I had kids in the car. Yeah, he was in Colorado or someplace skiing, I think. I don't know where it was. He told me, but I forgot. And a friend of mine called him about a situation, and he said, okay, I'll get right back to you. And he hung up. And the reason he said, I'll get right back to you was because he was in the middle of a fucking blizzard with little kids in the car and his wife. So a blizzard, you know, it's not just for one block. A blizzard goes for he was driving and he was afraid because he had his kids in the car. And so it's understandable why you didn't call right back. And all I did was kind of explain to him that you could have made a phone call instead and let him know that you couldn't call right back, that you're in a blizzard. But from what I understand is you told them that up front, that you're in a blizzard, you have your kids, and I'll get back to you as soon as I could. But Joe is my dear friend, and he's very, very old-fashioned, much like myself, that if you say something, you better do it. And if you don't do it, you better make a phone call to say that you can't do it. And that's what I explained to Manny. And both sides had good points. One was an old-fashioned, this is an old-fashioned thing that all people from that generation do. They're just very, very, very honorable. And Manny is middle-aged, got a great business, great family. And look, when you're caught in a fucking blizzard, and with your kids in the car, everything else goes out the window. Nothing else matters. So it's all straightened out anyway. We don't have to talk about it no more. Okay, Tony Maloney, here's a horse racing question. Joe, how did the Meadowlands staff treat you when you were on a roll with your horses?
I think we answered
We
that
answered
one, but
that
he had
already.
another one with the
All right,
winner's circle right here. I think someone answered that.
I see your Winter Circle celebration was the most people ever seen. Yeah, there was half of Brooklyn there.
Yeah. Well, it was. You know, I have a lot of friends, a lot of family. And it started out with 5 or 6 after he won. You know, the Meadowlands Pace was 9 out of the 10 in a row at the Meadowlands, which were all stakes races. And, you know, people were starting to follow. I made 1,000 new friends. But that night, predominantly, it was all my friends and family and a load of people from Brooklyn. And if I was able to tell everyone I knew, the whole damn track included all the whole place would have been packed as a winner's circle. But things were happening so fast, my mind was just on taking care of my horse. You know, I used to visit him 3 times a day, and you know, you got to keep an eye on things. And you know, Steve was fanatical, and the groom, you know, treated him, you know, spoiled him. He did anything for her. So, you know, time just went by, and I wasn't really thinking about, you know, just inviting 1 million people, but there was a good sizable crowd. And,
I want to say this about Joe. Joe naturally, he grew up and he did what he did because of that's just the way you flowed back then. But he grew up a lot since then, and he's really, really a good guy. The only time I think Joe would get violent, because he would treat you with respect and he would treat you like a man. But I can tell you this, I believe, if Joe was ever walking down the street and he saw a guy walking his dog and maybe kicking the dog or disrespecting the dog, that guy will find himself in a hospital and that dog will have a new home in Joe's house. That's the only time I think
probably
that would happen. Okay, let's see what this says. Hopefully Eddie has better luck tomorrow. No good today. What Tony is talking about is that my friend Ron, he used to, well, he's really, really, really good guy. Been in the horse business, in the trucking business, and his whole life. And his trainer was Lou Martinez, and when Lou died, I think Ron probably got out of business. I'm not sure because I had my own problems and out of town myself. And he wanted to get back in the horse business, so he met Eddie through my show here, through this podcast, and he went down there and he put a bunch of money in, and he claimed a horse a couple of weeks ago for I think 50 or 60,000, and he's racing tomorrow. And I wish him nothing but the best, because Eddie's a great guy, and the guy that he's now friends with is Ron, and he's a great guy. And I wish them all the luck in the world. Both terrific guys. And that's what I mean, Manny, that you're part of this circle now. And all we ask in this circle is to be respectful. That's all. Just be respectful. Nobody's a tough guy in this crowd. Nobody's this, nobody's that. But we will defend each other right to the death. And that's what it takes to be in this club. And you're in this club now, Manny. So do me a favor. Just behave. Is a good word. Well, okay. All right, let's see. Manny Cigar. Joe, come to Goshen Sale. I will be with my trainer there. It's a small stable, but a good one. He's with Ray Schnichter. Ray Schnichter.
I know Ray.
Yeah, okay.
Ray won the big trot race the night my horse won the. No, Ray won the. He won the Hambletonian the day my horse won a big race on Hamble Day.
I don't know.
And my sister went into his party. She said, yeah, my brothers drove around. Her and Donnie went into Schnicker's party for the Hambletonian.
All right.
What are you doing? Yeah, look, what's this?
We're going to go there right now. Tony, did Artistic Fellow produce any good offsprings? I think he just mentioned it, but mention it again.
All right, well, we talked about the one down in Australia. Her name was Mindari Pretty, Priddy. She couldn't do nothing wrong, and they raced 1.75 miles down there. She was a great horse. She was always lame, but she had track records and beat the boys a couple of times. And one horse that was racing was Horse of the Year up in Saratoga every year. Artful Way, his name was. But he never really produced anything really world beater over here because he was up in Canada. And, you know, I didn't really get along too well with the money guys. And, you know, I was all alone, my own entity pretty much. And when you're not with Brittany or Hanover or, you know, Blue Chip, you know, you get all backyard bears and very difficult to get a good one. You know, the mares dictate what kind of baby you'll have. It's not about the stallion. I mean, I truly believe you could breed any stallion that's not even a made racehorse on the track to a great brood mare and get a good horse. I mean, you know, it wouldn't be too appetizing to do that, but it probably would happen. The mare is everything. And I didn't command them.
Larry Cox wants to know if you ever raced in Canada.
Yeah, we finished second in the Canadian, I guess the Pacing Derby, and we won the Breeders' Crown at what do you call that? What's that one? Not Woodbine. Mohawk. Mohawk, the horse won wire to wire out of the 8-hole in the Breeders' Crown.
Didn't your horse win like 7, 8 races in a row?
10 in a row at the Meadowlands.
10 in a row at the Meadowlands?
Yeah. And he won the Oliver Wendell the week after the Meadowlands Pace. Him and Matt Scooter are the only 2 horses that ever won a race after the Meadowlands Pace.
Wow.
So that's a big thing.
Very
You know, he
good.
ran off by like 10.
All right, Manny wants you to bring me with you.
Yeah,
You ain't going, and I ain't going. And if you're going without me.
I respect my elders, Larry, so when I
Yeah.
go.
Okay, let's see. Manny, Dewey cheat Howie, and he drove him also. What the hell does that mean? Dewey?
That's the horse, the trotter.
Try.
Do we cheat him and how?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's Schnicker's horse, I think.
Oh, okay. All right, he knows. I don't know. I've been too busy with my life trying to stay alive. Tony, Artful Way was driven by Frank Coppola in a lot of his wins. I don't know who Artful Way is, and I don't know.
Artful Way is one of my horse's babies that raced up in Saratoga, and every year he was Horse of the Year up there.
Oh,
Great little horse. Yeah, Frank Coppola trained him, I believe, and drove him. Or a girl, I don't know exactly, how that went.
I have puppy. My dog just came.
But he made really good babies, nice, strong. I only raced my guy 6 starts, and then Elliot said we're taking him off the track at 2. And then he wasn't even rated as a 3-year-old, and he was rated #1 horse in North America as a 3-year-old. I didn't even know how to stake horses at the time. I had my friend Pat, who was going to be here with us tonight. He helped me stake, and I supplemented him to everything. And, he made the money the hard way. The harder way would be to just go in overnights. But still, to make $2.8 million on the track with someone who didn't know how to stake, it's pretty damn good. If I knew what I was doing, he probably would have had $5 million on his card. If he didn't get hurt and ran his last year, he would have been horse of the year with another $1 million. But if a queen has a pair of balls, she's a king, right? If it's a big word. So,
all right. So what's on the agenda for you now? You're not really going to buy another trotter, right?
no, I'm going to get back into the races when one of my endeavors clicks in the next year, because I got to do something exciting to keep me going. Sometimes I'm starting to feel like, I have no spark left, but I got to keep living my life and doing what I got to do. And horses are fun. I like to compete. I played sports, that's all I have now is the racing.
Wasn't your brother a real good baseball player?
Yeah, he was.
What happened? What happened? He didn't make the. I think it was because he got tired of being in the minors or something.
It's a lot of political shit, Plus, he was from Brooklyn. Those guys there, they don't like people from Brooklyn.
What the hell does that mean? Why?
That's how they are. They're down south. South, who knows?
I spoke to him yesterday. He called me yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Well, he was on the phone with Dina, your sister, and then she put me on just to say hello. And I just said hello. He's in Florida now. He's happy. Why did he move to Florida? To get away from you, or?
Nah, him and I don't get along too
No,
good.
I know that.
But that's okay.
I asked him. I said, kidding around. I says, Pete. I says, your brother's coming over tomorrow. I says, I know that if you were in Florida, you'd come with him. But in the event, or if you wasn't in Florida, you'd be here. But in the event that you want, I could take your place because I still know how to swing a bat. And he started laughing. And but he's a good guy. I don't know why you two don't get along. I don't get it. He's such a good guy.
You know what? Two different.
But you're
people.
a little wacky too.
I was raised by my father. I'm the oldest. I got the worst end of him. He was a fucking nut, my father. He was a good guy, but, a great coach. But he could do to me what he wanted because I was his son. And I caught many a beat. And you know what? He drummed shit into my brain. You got to be the best. You got to do this. You got to do that. Believe it or not, when that horse hit, he was very proud of my horse. And he was very happy. He had a lot of good times. The last 10, 15 years of his life, he spent at the track. One night, he took the whole fucking pool out at the Meadowlands with the horse. His first win out of the 10 in a row, he made like $30,000 in one night.
He was a good guy.
Exactly.
Your dad was a good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy, but he was tough.
He was tough.
He
but
was
he was
tough.
a good guy.
One day you love him, the next day you want to fucking kill him.
You just wanted to buck him at every turn, I think.
Nah. He broke my balls every day of my life. He made me a guy that was, someone that was an achiever. That I don't quit, I don't give up. That works, and it don't work too. Because sometimes you got to accept that you're going to lose. You can't win every day. And,
Did you ever lose a street fight one-on-one?
Oh, yeah, not really. I got cracked once by this big black kid in high school in the gym. He caught me with a hook. But, I hit him 3 times before he hit me once. But I went on one knee. I got up, my body slammed him off the bleachers. And,
All right.
the key is you never quit. That's it.
There's Manny again.
We're too old for that shit now.
Whether he becomes a great stallion is inevitable. I can't say that. I just went to do the right by the horse. I respect that, Joe. There, you got a new fan, Manny Cigars.
Well, I didn't go with the big guys because I knew that we would take care of him better, and I didn't really care about other people making money with my horse. I cared about his safety.
But your trainer was a good trainer.
He was
good. He was a good guy.
Steve is tough to deal with, but you know what?
Who was his brother's name? What was
David.
Dave.
He did his job, you know.
Dave was the quiet one. Dave was the real quiet one. Yeah.
Steve did a lot of good things, but he used to fuck with me. He used to make major changes, sometimes the day of the race, like at the Ben Franklin Memorial when the horse was hit the world record. He put some Swedish bridle on the horse. He pulled the string in the stretch.
Oh, for the
horse?
Oh,
for the eyes. It opened them up.
Yeah.
And in the stretch, he pulled them and it shut him down. Now he couldn't see. He just heard, and he ran off by like 6.
So did he wear a closed bridle after that?
No, he never wore a closed. He always wore
that race was a closed bridle.
cheetah hood. He wore a cheetah hood with cutouts in the back. And if anyone hit him with the stick, they got one warning, but they'll never fucking drive him again.
Oh, you mean
if I see a stripe on my horse again, you're not driving the horse.
Costello hit him a couple of times right before the wire.
No, he never whacked him, but he swung at it. If that horse, you just went like this, Larry, you stuck your hand up with the whip, he would roll. He did what he was told. And when he got whipped, he would stop. I don't know. I think just cracking the whip does a good job.
They're all lined up in behind the gate, and here they come. And they're off and took Hanover from the outside, gets the first call. Long shot, My Boy David is put into play early. Up close from the rail is Perfect Union, who looks to settle into third. Artistic Fella floats away between horses. Western Ace is 3 wide early. Shark Gesture is 6th on the inside. Real Mean Art is caught a bit wide on the turn. Total Truth is lining up to follow Western Ace for Team Teague. Further back racing in 9th is Armbro Deuce, and Dave Panlone trails the field, and Dave Miller makes a move with Perfect Union on the outside. Up and after took Hanover. They hit the quarter in 26 and 3, and Artistic Fella follows the move of Perfect Union. So Perfect Union is about to clear the lead. Pressure coming though as the favorite Artistic Fella is right alongside in second. Took Hanover, who left the gate well, is now third. Racing in 4th is My Boy David. Shark Gesture is 5th, and Artistic Fella takes the lead before the half-mile marker. Western Ace is 6th on the outside. Total Truth is following him. Armbro Deuce is 8th on the outside. Then it's Real Mean Art, the half in 53 and 1, and 10th and trailing is Dave Panlone, an Artistic Fella and the Catman, a length in front as they wheel onto the far turn. Perfect Union is second, and Campbell takes a shot with Took Hanover, who's coming on the outside, and Took Hanover is up and after Artistic Fella, just half a length away as they near the 3/4 marker. Artistic Fella still in front on the inside. Took Hanover right at his throat on the outside second. Perfect Union has dropped back a bit in third. Total Truth trying to kick on 3 deep on the outside. 3/4 in 1:21 and 3. It's Artistic Fella at the top of the stretch who leads it. Took Hanover is still 2 lengths away on the outside. Armbro Deuce in the middle of the racetrack is coming. Perfect Union there. My Boy David angles out. Artistic Fella still there. Armbro Deuce charging hard with My Boy David. Artistic Fella. Armbro Deuce. My Boy David. Artistic Fella wins the Meadowlands Pace in a masterpiece.
He just wanted to get the job done.
Now, the only thing, I started to say this before, because your sister asked me one day, she says, oh, look at the book, the Hoofbeats. My brother's horse is on the cover. And I looked at the thing, and I said, what do you see wrong here? She said, nothing, he just won the Meadowlands. What do you see wrong here, Dina? What do you see wrong here? How could your brother allow this picture be on the cover? Naturally, you had nothing to do with it.
I know what it was.
The knee boot.
Yeah, it was turned.
Yeah.
He used to brace his knees sometimes.
Yeah, but you got them. Well, they have
Really skinny ones.
they have light, but deep-seated knee boots, where the bone that comes out, the knee
It's
boot,
underneath.
the knee boot is so
Thin.
it's so thin, but it's concaved in, where that bone fits solid into it.
Yeah.
Them are the boots that he should have wore, not a regular. He had Italian knee boots on, the light ones, but they have Italian knee boots that are deep-seated, where if that bone is big and you get the regular ones, the bottom half of the knee boot won't form fit to the tendon. It sticks out. So if he comes close, he's going to hit that. It's going to twist around, and that's what happened to your horse.
Yeah. Well, he probably asked them for speed and deep stretch.
Yeah.
And
But had you had the deep-seated knee boots, that wouldn't have happened. But there's they had them back then, because I used them in the 80s. They had them.
They used them little cotton ones that really wouldn't do shit.
Yeah.
If a horse whacks himself with them on it, they'll be finished. But the ones you're talking about are good.
All right, what else? Let's see if there's any more comments. Because, Joe, it's nice seeing you, but I ain't sitting up here all fucking night.
I know. We could be here till fucking tomorrow.
Yeah. Let's see. What's this say here? What the hell is it?
Jackie Green Trainer. Yeah, that's the one of Hartford Way up at that track.
Whether he becomes dying or okay. Did he ever race at Vernon or Syracuse?
No.
No. Manny Cigars again. I know you're getting off soon, Larry. I just played the song. It's getting late. The world needs to hear it. I'm going to play it. I have another song. I have another song that I'm going to play. You know what I'm going to do for you, Manny? I'm going to play both songs because I'm changing this whole setup where I'm going to have lots and lots of people coming in because we're going to do a lot of crazy things and a lot of things where a lot of people can get involved. So that's what I'm going to start doing, starting maybe next week. Or I started it yesterday, but my computer is so screwed up because every time. Anyway, so here's what I'm going to do, Manny. I'm going to
We lost sound.
Manny, can you hear me, Manny? Because there's a guy, Steve Wing, says you lost sound. Did we lose sound, Manny? Let's see if Manny answers. What's this thing? Mr. Races when the driver sat upright, not laying down. Yeah, well, that's progress, they call it. Lighter bikes, different design bikes. Let's see. He says loud and clear. Okay, so we're all right. You lost sound loud and clear. All right. Here's what I'm going to do for you because we're going to, Joe is young enough. He can stay up here. I can't stay too long. But what I'm going to do, Joe, Manny, I'm going to play you two songs. And here's what I want from all the listeners. Which song, I'm going to play both songs. One was the song I ended the show with a long time ago when I first started called It's Getting Late. Now, I'm going to play that song first, and then I'm going to play the other song I replaced it with. And you all tell me which song you like better. Now, all I got to do is find them. Hold on now. Tell me which song you like better in the comments, because after I played them, I'm going to turn. Okay, here we go. Let's see. All right, here's the song that I always ended with. Listen to the words of this song, and then right after this song, I'm going to play the other song and tell me which one I should end the show with. Here's the one that Manny likes, and Joe likes it too.
Those grudges, ditch those judges, they're just weighing you down. Drop the haters, procrastinators, 'cause one man's smile is just another one's frown. When it's time for the end, ain't no warning, my friend. One day you're here, next stop the pearly gates. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Dump collections, self-reflections, they're just covered in dust. Why obsess, worry or stress? Just ask yourself, what's the fuss? When your doctor calls you on a Sunday afternoon, gonna be a blue Monday, you'll be howling at the moon. You know you never can cheat fate. Lighten up, it's getting late. Forget bling and glitter, text and Twitter. Don't need it to make my case. Say it old school, face to face. Dump the users, soul abusers, turn and walk away. Give yourself a kick in the ass, then raise your glass. Let's toast to the past and make the most of today. Keep the faith, rise above, do the things that you love. Find a reason every day to celebrate. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Live it well, have a blast. Live it full, life goes fast. Carrying around too much dead weight. All the simple things are all that matter. Lighten up, it's getting late. Oh, what the hell? IGL. Oh, lighten up, it's getting late.
Okay, that was number one. For those of you who are gonna, okay, here's the other one. Then I'm gonna replace it.
Old bones inside an old raincoat. Old bones inside of old shoes. Old friend from the hotel come by to wish me well and keep me up to date on all the old news. Sometimes I have me a whiskey and fall asleep in my chair. I dream that I'm a man, much younger than I am. I bet you think by now that I wouldn't care. But I love life, I'd like to do it again. Though I might not be much more than I've ever been. Just to have the chance to turn back the hands and let my life begin. Oh yeah, I'd like to do it again. It's time for taking it easy. It's time for taking it slow. Old bones don't move so fast like they did once in the past. Now if I have to run, I simply don't go. But I love life, I'd like to do it again. though I might not be much more than I've ever been. Just to have the chance to turn back the hands and let my life begin. Oh yeah, I'd like to do it again. Oh yeah, I'd like to do it again.
Okay, now I'm going to stay on another couple of minutes for those of you who would tell me which one you like better. So until then, let's see. Let's see here. Good luck, Joe. Hopefully you'll find another autistic fella. Yeah, well, maybe. They're hard to come by.
Needle in a haystack.
Needle in a haystack. It's probably 1 out of 20,000. Used to be 1 out of 30,000 when he picked them. Steve Wing must have been on my end. Must have been on my end. I can hear you perfectly now. Yes, Steve, it was your end. Loud and clear. What's this say? This is an amazing song. Which one, Manny? Which one? 1 or 2? Jesus Christ. My pal Manny. Let's see. It's getting late. Makes me feel better after a tough game. Yeah. Well, he likes it. It's getting late. Let's see. And gets me ready for the next day. Let's see. My cousin. I like the first one. Carmine likes the second. Okay. And Cookie, by the way, I had no idea because, I'm not the kind, and I'm sure you've noticed by now, you all know me since you were born. I very rarely make phone calls. Very rarely. It's just, I don't know why. I know why. Because I'm so busy. When I'm up, I'm like this guy here, Joe. I find things to do and I'm so busy and I get so wrapped up and I put everything into it that I just forget to make the phone calls. I just don't make them. And it becomes a way of life with me. But I get all the information, and if it's a phone call that I have to make because of sickness or death or whatever, I make them. But I don't just call them and say, hi, how you been? How's everything? I just don't do it. I got too much going on in my life and more than that going on in my brain. So that's why. But I heard that Carmine, and I never knew this, Carmine is waiting on a list to get a liver transplant or kidney. Or I had no idea. I didn't know. I didn't know that. I wish him all the best. Okay, let's see. Gary, getting late. He likes getting late better. Okay, what's this one say? It's getting late. My choice. Okay, everybody likes It's Getting Late. You know, Getting Late was written by my friend Al Natoli. Al Natoli, I did a podcast with him. He's Joe Pesci's double and probably best friends since they were kids. In fact, let me see something. They might be. Yeah, here it is. Where the hell's the other one? Where the hell is the other one? This is Alfred. That's Joe Pesci, and this is the movie. The last movie that Pesci made, The Irishman. That's Alfred. That's Joe Pesci, and that's De Niro. Alfred played in all of Joe Pesci's movies. They all grew up together, along with this guy, Frankie Vincent, who was my partner with this until he died. Where the hell is the other one? Oh, here it is. This is when they did one movie a few years back. That's Joe Pesci and that's Alfred. Alfred was the one, if you've ever seen the movie Casino, if you remember the scene when Alfred was sitting at a bar, Joe Pesci comes over with Frankie Vincent and says, "What'd you do with the money I gave you last time? You gambled it, didn't you? Just tell me you fucking gambled it and I'll pay it. You fucking degenerate." If you remember that scene, that was Alfred and him. All right, so folks, that's it. And like I said, from now on, what I'm going to do is, aside from having guests, I'm going to do something like this. You know who that is? That's Nicky Barnes. You know who that is? That's Nicky Barnes. The youngest fella was the hit guy. He was the guy that took care of all the business. He was the youngest guy, the whole crew. That's Jazz. He just died. That's Nicky Barnes. So there's a whole story that goes with that. I dealt with them for about 6 months straight, made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they all went to jail. They're all dead now, except the youngest one, who's him. And here's the picture when he first got out of jail. That's Leon Scraps. He got 30 to life, I think. And he's out of jail. And I went to see him, and he was on my podcast. In fact, when he come on my podcast, he come down the day earlier because he lives in the Bronx. And when he came down, he stopped someplace to get something to eat, I think, and he got mugged in Newark. And on the show, it's on the podcast. He's on the podcast. He was in a hospital. He come out. He had to put a hat on because he had his whole head was slit open, and he had about 50 stitches in his back. They chopped him up pretty good. But he came on. He did the show, and he told what we were doing, how we were doing it, how much money he made, and he told about the day when they all got caught, and he had about 80,000 of my money, and he didn't know what to do with it. They got him. They got him in a car. And they just took all the money. So anyway, folks, that's it. I thank you so much for coming. Joe's going to come back again with his friends probably next week or whenever he can get them all together. And basically, that's it, because I'm tired. I'm old. Joe has about a 2-hour ride to get home. And so that's it. So I'm going to play the song everybody seems to like better. It's getting late, and at the end of this song, I'm shutting the thing down. So, no, that's not the song. This song here. Thank you all for showing up. We're going to do another show tomorrow.
Dump those grudges, ditch those judges. They're just weighing you down. Drop the haters, procrastinators, 'cause one man's smile is just another one's frown. When it's time for the end, ain't no warning, my friend. One day you're here, next stop the pearly gates. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Dump collections, self-reflections, they're just covered in dust. Why obsess, worry or stress? Just ask yourself, what's the fuss? When your doctor calls you on a Sunday afternoon, gonna be a blue Monday, you'll be howling at the moon. You know you never can cheat fate. Lighten up, it's getting late. Forget bling and glitter, text and Twitter. Don't need it to make my case. Say it old school, face to face. Dump the user, soul abuser, turn and walk away. Give yourself a kick in the ass, then raise your glass. Let's toast to the past and make the most of today. Keep the faith, rise above, do the things that you love. Find a reason every day to celebrate. So listen close to what I'm saying. Lighten up, it's getting late. Live it well, have a blast. Simple things are all that matter. Lighten up, it's getting late. Oh, what the hell? IGL.
Started out with
Oh, lighten up, it's getting late.
Ronnie Pierce won the Suslow, the Elim, the final. He won the Berry Creek, the Berries Creek final. And then he won.
How come you switched to Catello from Pierce? No, that was
Pierce had to go with the black guy's horse, Total Truth.
oh
And he told me he couldn't deal with going off his horses. He has
yeah.
too many good rides.
Yeah, if you're the driver for a big outfit, you got to stick with him.
Yeah.
All right, folks, that's it. I hope you had some fun. We're going to do it tomorrow again with the regular crew, and we're going to try a different format. And so keep your cards and letters coming in, and we'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow night. And Manny, behave. Horse racing, both thoroughbred and harness, is the largest spectator sport in the United States. More than baseball, football, basketball, and hockey combined. Each year, billions of dollars in purse money is distributed between the two divisions. This docu-style series, The Winner's Circle, will end with $1 million race called the Winner's Circle Pace, created only for this series. It starts with this little guy and ends in the winner's circle. During this time, we'll follow the lives of 5 of the most talented and successful trainers in harness racing. We'll witness the dedication, the challenges, and the disappointments, as well as the thrills, excitement, and rewards associated with buying, training, and racing their equine athletes. Our first stop is Pennsylvania for the November Harrisburg Standardbred Horse Sale, where each of the 5 trainers will purchase 3 standardbred yearlings. To be eligible for the $1 million Winner's Circle Pace, each yearling must be a pacing bred colt with a purchase price not exceeding $100,000. We'll interview each trainer pertaining to their yearling selection and then watch as each trainer inspects each yearling being considered. The following day, viewers will watch as each of the 5 trainers bid for the yearlings they selected against other trainers and buyers from all over the world. Viewers will witness the tedious and dangerous job each trainer has as each yearling is being broke to the harness and training gear for the first time. They will also view the real-life tragedies that sometimes occur as these yearlings become aged racehorses. The focal point of each episode will be the daily challenges that each trainer faces while preparing each yearling for their first race.
When we got him here at the farm and we started working with him, he was so small. I didn't have a harness to feed him. We had to have 3 pads underneath.
From this point, the show will progress based on the racing and training schedule of each horse and each trainer. Every phase of the trainer's job will be viewed, including his talks with owners, grooms, and the driver of his horses.
Better horses win the big races, so I feel good that I'm bringing one of the better horses to the post.
He's going into the race as good as he possibly can, and a good post and a sharp horse, that's all you can ask for prior to the race.
She just got kind of tired, I think, last week. Her head got down, she got a little lugging in, and she tied up a little bit. So I think
along with the yearlings, we will follow the daily racing of the aged racehorses that are a big part of each trainer's stable. An added attraction for these viewers will be the ability to legally wager through an online betting account on their favorite horse as they watch the race in real time. On race day, all 10 2-year-olds are brought to the race paddock at the Meadowlands Racetrack to warm up for their first lifetime start against each other. As they approach the starting line, the wings of the gate open, and once again we hear the announcer's words,
"And they're off!"
Then in less than 2 minutes, the race is over, and the winner is brought to the winner's circle for the trophy, the celebration, and the $1 million check.